Welcome to the Prolific Health and Fitness Podcast, where today you get to hear two meatheads and one beautiful woman talk about random crap, and hopefully it brings you some value. Stan, my beautiful wife, Peyton, I say this because she will knife hand me if we close this out and I don't make her feel special. So today we wanted to break down some fitness myths or trends that we're seeing that we think are absolutely ridiculous. And I would love to start this with the women's perspective. What are some things that you're noticing on Instagram or Facebook that it just makes you shake your head in shame of why are we this dumb when it comes to the fitness stuff?
Yeah. The weird glute exercises are always the most interesting things to watch. How people think, get in this most random ass position and yep, it's working the glute. You know what I mean? Kicking your leg as far as you possibly can and hyperextending your lower back. Definitely hitting the glute only.
I saw one the other day and the lady was trying to do a form of kickback, or maybe it was a combination of a kickback and a push down, but it was on the cable. And so she set the cable up, but it's way up here, and she didn't fix the weight stack. So as soon as she let go, the thing just picked her leg up and she flopped on her back, straight up upside down on the cable machine. I'm this is ridiculous to watch.
It serves her right though. Doing too much.
No, with glute exercise, just exercise selection in general. I know we talked about strength and everything. There's a rule that I'm sure all of your grandparents said, all of your parents said, something I say quite often, and it's the KISS rule, keep it simple, stupid. And it's because if we stray from that, chances are we're being kind of stupid. When it comes to glute exercises or any exercise really, there's foundational stuff that really creates results. And oftentimes what you're seeing on social media is this person doing a crazy exercise because they know it's going to break the mental algorithm that we have, where we just get in this kind of death scroll mode. And then we see something that's unique, that's different, that's new, that's the secret to getting the perfect sculpted glutes that we want. And we don't realize that that person maybe just did one set of that for a few reps while the camera was rolling, and then cut the camera and went to the basic workout that they do every Wednesday and Friday that they've done for 5+ years, 10 years, that's actually sculpted, the muscles that they want. But they know that doesn't sell. That doesn't get views. That doesn't get sponsors. That doesn't get them money in their bank. So they need to do this crazy stuff. And unfortunately, we even see it in academics. We see doctors who do these crazy things in at least the kinesiology and exercise science space, where they'll do crazy exercises that just look absolutely ridiculous, and then maybe fund their own research to cherry pick and say, well, it's proven in science that this works. And in reality, if you just break it down to the very basic fundamentals of that movement, you could mimic that same movement with an actual foundational movement, say doing some kind of crazy, single leg pistol squat, offset crazy thing. And it's well, why don't you just do a single leg press or a single leg extension and hamstring curl, combo, and do the exact same thing? You're just taking something that works and making it look absolutely ridiculous to get views. So this is a good one. Stan, what about you?
Well, before I go into one of the ones that really chapped me a lot, I'd like to say it's kind of funny because that's why they do it. Because that single leg press or that single leg hamstring curl combination isn't going to get views. It's not going to get the views they want. Everybody wants to go viral instead of actually being someone that's informative or educational. And I think that's why we have content right now to talk about all these trends is because it's like, oh, well, it's time to reinvent the wheel. Stop reinventing the wheel. Give the same information. The information, if the information changes, give new information. But if the information hasn't changed and it's tried and true, you could present the same information, just present it differently. But to talk about a trend that I don't like, I mean, because I'm tapped into different levels of the social media or different levels of fitness social media now, I don't see as much as I used to. But one of the things that I have seen recently is probably just like, it's still like the half squats. You know what I mean? It's still like it's still not even the stuff in the gym. It's everybody's a nutritionist. It's all these things that just don't equate to what people are saying they equate to. It's like we had a big strand of these influencers getting busted for like just scamming people a few years ago. And I think people kind of got hip to it when they had like the $40 programs where it was nutrition, blah, 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 blah. But they were getting like thousands of people to buy into it. I think for me, some of that stuff, I mean, I don't really see much now that's on that level of bad, but I definitely think what's old is going to be new again at some point. People are going to forget about it. And then people are going to try to bring that up again once they get a little fame behind them. But
Oh yeah, like those trainers who, you know, IFBB Pro, NPC, did a show, had a plan, just copy paste and give it to everybody underneath them.
This kind of podcast, okay, yes, precisely.
Yeah.
Or
that
the
kind of shit.
or the trainers that start putting new names to stuff. You know, they put new names to exercises or even try and make what we do seem like it's even more grand scheme. Like taking exercises and saying that they're like essentially some form of actual therapy when we don't have a background to do that. I've seen that too. And I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah.
Yeah. And there was I went to a conference in Chicago last year, and we had this guy talking about, you know, fitness trends, and it was a room full of gym owners, specifically boutique gym owners like ours, where it's really focused on training. And he was saying like these trends that you see, you know, back when gyms first started, when weight rooms first started, it was literally a weight room, and it was people lifting weights. And then it shifted to the weird belts that you see that like shake people, and it's supposed to like make you like really toned and stuff. And then
They
after
still
that,
have those,
they still
by the
have
way.
them, but it's not necessarily a trend. It will come back at some point.
I
It'll
have
trend
had
back.
a few patients want to use those, so.
But
Shake belts.
Not shake weight.
but
No,
then
shake belts.
yeah, the shake belts. But then after that, it went back to weights and a weight room. And then from there, it went to like the Jazzercise and the was it Richard Simmons or whatever his name is that does the yeah, exactly. And then after that, it went back to weight rooms and resistance training. And then it went to the P90Xs and all of those. And then it went back to resistance training and back to strength training. And then it went to like the Soul Cycles and HIIT gyms. And now we're seeing this shift again back to resistance training and strength training, and understanding what works will always work. Everything else is a trend, and eventually the trend will fade out, and what has always worked will always rise back up. And this is why like I've doubled down on this gym, even in times where it's like, man, like business is hard. Like business ownership's difficult, and you get tempted with the shiny object syndrome of making a pivot in order to make more profit. But it's understanding like to break the integrity of what works will always work in order to take advantage of a trend to get more profit. It's like eventually that trend will end, and you're just going to have to go from pivot to pivot to pivot to pivot. But if you double down on what works, and resistance training, strength training works, it always has, it always will. And so talking about, you bring that up, it's like, it's almost a business trend right now to be an online coach or to be a fitness coach, to be any kind of coach, because we live in the day and age of the internet entrepreneur. And you can kind of just listen to a couple podcasts, maybe read a few articles and download ChatGPT, and you can pretty much be a fitness and nutrition coach. The problem is you don't have the right foundation. Yep. And you're going to give trends that you see are working to get sales, and eventually that trend will end and you'll be outed. And the foundational coaches, the foundational gyms that stick to what works, that will always work, will be the ones that get to consistently and slowly, day by day, improve and improve and improve and improve and never burn out. I want to flip the script, though, from training trends to maybe nutrition trends.
Juice cleanses.
Juice cleanses? Are those coming back?
Yes. They drive me nuts. Absolutely. They've always been here. Always. Yeah. Just have 3 juices a day for a week.
Or like the detox teas, and like you have to do this cleanse, this detox cleanse.
Full transparency. I am a person that struggled in the past with anorexia. And so I've been through those nutritional, deficits, like to the extreme. I never did a juice cleanse, but I lived off of peanut butter and like pretzels at some point, and got down to an extremely, extremely low weight because I barely ate anything. So please eat. Don't just drink a juice and call it a meal. It's not a thing. Smoothie is different than a juice. I will tell you that, because you can get a lot more nutrition in that smoothie. But I'm just telling you, these nutritional trends and, the soup cleanse, only eating soup.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Something like that. Yeah. Back in the day, they did the tapeworm. Women actually ate tapeworms.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to lose weight.
Sounds like a few trips to the hospital right there.
Absolutely. Well, but that was like...
Doctors used to use leeches as therapy, right? Like, the juice cleanse, the soup, like the only soup I have is what I call black bean soup, which is coffee.
You ate soup the other day.
Coffee is
You ate chicken noodle the other day.
I'm the kind of guy who gets like chicken noodle or ramen or something, and I'll like get the water out of it and eat it.
No broth.
Dry soup.
Dry soup. No, when it comes to like the nutritional trends and stuff, again, like the foundation works. Problem is with nutrition, unlike training, is that not many people understand or know the foundation. And we've demonized the term of calories in versus calories out. And I'm someone who's guilty of this to an extent, in terms of, I used to work a lot with hormone cases, a lot of people who have chronic illness and autoimmune conditions. And after seeing doctors not be able to help them, and after seeing coaches put them in the position in the first place, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something here. Calories in versus calories out isn't working. And it's because I didn't understand the foundation of calories in versus calories out. And if you diet somebody down so hard, and we're seeing this with the rise in Ozempic, which is another trend, I will say. Like it has its purpose, it has its utility, but it is a trend where if you diet someone down for so long, we see other health effects happen. So thinking about a calorie is just energy. It's literally just it's a unit of energy for your body. So calories produce energy for your body to do everything from brain function to metabolism to your ability to go to the bathroom, your ability to think through a problem, your ability to go to sleep, to wake up, to do everything. Calories are needed for that. Now, macros within those calories have their own unique functions. But at the end of the day, the calories are the calories. And when you deplete those calories for so long, your body starts to go into this state of kind of fight or flight. And it has to decide. And unfortunately, we can't decide for it. It decides for us what it's going to prioritize those calories to do. And so what we notice is people who have battled with like lifelong anorexia, or people who have done like extreme weight cuts, it ends up slowing down their metabolism. It slows brain function. It stops their ability to digest food. It increases anxiety because we're not able to get into a parasympathetic nervous state where, like, what we call a rest and digest. And so we're actually impairing our body's ability to do anything except acute survival. This is why, like, people with extreme anorexia have like the numbness in their fingertips and poor blood flow because all their blood is being directed to vital organs. And what we're seeing with Ozempic use is that they actually did a study on Ozempic, and they looked at the amount of weight loss. And more than 50% of the weight lost was from muscle. So they were losing weight, but they were losing more muscle than they are fat. So yes, you're getting skinnier, but you're getting fatter. And so we have to prioritize, again, what works. So even within using something like Ozempic, because all Ozempic does is stop your hunger signals. It affects this part of the brain, chemical in the brain that tells you you're hungry. And it kind of mimics that receptor to let you know that you're full, even if you're not. So it keeps you from eating. Problem is, they don't do the foundation, which is prioritize protein intake, which allows you, it's like the main foundational block for your body's ability to repair tissue and repair itself. And then also, like, if you're not eating enough carbs are important.
What did we watch?
What is it? Fall Guy? So you need carbs. Your brain runs off carbs.
Yeah.
But it's, if you're not eating any carbs, and this is a side tangent I'll get into about keto, is like, well, I'm you know, if you're not eating enough protein and you're not eating enough carbs, you're not getting that energy. But if you eat too much protein, it actually goes through this process, this sciencey term called gluconeogenesis, where it turns protein into carbs, and it stores as glycogen or glucose in the body. So whenever you aren't prioritizing protein, you're actually taking out a main energy source. But if you're not resistance training with eating more protein, you're actually limiting your body's ability to repair tissue, create new tissue. And that's why we see this major loss of muscle compared to fat loss when taking something like Ozempic. And so that's why it's really important to not take something like that, again, because it is a trend. You can't take something like that and disregard the foundation, the main building blocks, which is resistance training and a proper diet, prioritizing protein. I'm not saying that carbs and fats are bad. I'm not saying that at all, but protein should be the priority there. Yeah, so that's all I'll say on that trend. My rant's done. What have you seen on nutritional kind of fads?
Well, you took mine with Ozempic. It's still like the people thinking carbs are bad. I mean, it's not even necessarily a trend that I see in social media. It's a trend that happens when I talk to people, because it's almost like when you talk about carbs, it's almost like they're ashamed of it. It's like, yeah, man, I'm really trying to make sure that I keep my carbs down. And it's like, you almost have that look of like looking around. It's like, bro, are you about to say something bad? You know what I mean? Like,
when you ask them, like, you know, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, I took all bread out.
It's like, I bet you still eat
Yeah.
potatoes though, ain't you?
Yeah, where are those veggies at?
Right.
Those baby carrots got carbs in them.
Yeah, it's like, but it's also like, I think because people have been so conditioned to be like, yo, that's bad, but they don't. I bet you if we asked 25 people what are veggies, people wouldn't realize that veggies have carbs in them.
Or they're gonna say like, oh, it's fiber, so it's net carbs, and it's like it doesn't quite work the way you think it does. It's way more nuanced, right. And we got used to like these net carb products and keto products that are like it's only 4 net carbs, so you stay in ketosis, and it's like, well, from long-term studies, we realize it's not true, but it's a good sales gimmick. It's a good trend.
Well, I mean, it's like, sorry if you do this, but it's like carnivore. Like, yep. If we're being completely honest about it, I'm sure carnivore works for some people, but think about this. If you've been somebody that's eaten carbs your whole life and you're just like, I'm just going to eat all meat and I'm just going to take everything else out, your body's going to have some effects to it. It's just how it happens. Or if you were to move from just eating just straight up meat to implementing something new in your diet, probably going to be in the bathroom quite a bit. So there's going to be these different approaches that everybody wants to put out there, but at the same time, it's like, don't let your friend who doesn't have the digestive issues that you have influence you to do something that's going to make that digestive issues even worse. Like, if it's not for you, it's probably not for you. Obviously, like, everybody's built differently. I do know people who can sit there and eat meat. Like, people snack on meat. I can't snack on meat. It just doesn't work for me, man. I gotta have some rice. You know what I mean? Get your mind out the gutter. It's a kid's show.
Logan told me no, it
wasn't. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I almost feel like for me, if I don't have some form of carbs, dude, I'm dozing off by 2:00. It's just like that video we made. So I don't know that I can necessarily speak to the social media trends, but I can speak to the fact that, like, every time I talk to somebody, and this includes like when we first got here, like talking to our members, they were talking like carbs were the devil. And like, it was just the mark of the beast to even like consider carbs as a real food. And it's just, I think more people just need to do their research or just be more educated about what we're putting into our bodies. I mean, I will say, speaking to the black community, a lot more black people have become a lot more health conscious, right? But also are starting to actually like look into the benefits of not eating the way we've eaten all these years. And I know we've had a show about this, but like, I think if we're going to talk about the negative trends, let's talk about the positive trends too, because a lot of people just didn't know. Like, us growing up, we didn't know. It's something that we had to either stumble upon, or, you know, you either stumble upon it, you're taught it, or when you get a little older and your organs start messing you up a little bit, you're gonna end up learning about it anyway. So I think for all the things that we can talk negatively about on social media and the trends, I do think that there's some positive trends that are out there. And even how we were talking about keto and carnivore, I think if these things are getting people to be a lot more educated about what they're putting in their body, then by all means, and I'm glad that it's happening that way, even if they're wrong.
Yeah, I think there's a global good that comes from it, even though there could be some bad with it, and like in the New Testament, right? There's these people that claim that they're doing miracles in the name of Jesus, and the disciples go to him and they're like, these guys are doing this and they're saying that it's in your name and they're doing miracles, and Jesus is like, well, let them keep doing it. Like, as long as the message is getting out, like, it's not a problem, because the net benefit at the end is what it needs to be. And I think, there is a lot of harm that can come from putting out, salesy styles of nutrition and fitness. But if the conversation at least is getting started in homes of like, hey, what we're doing is wrong. What we're doing is bad. And I think we're seeing this with the Gen Z, right? Sometimes we think, man, it's hard to talk to these Gen Zers. Like, I don't get them. Like, it's weird, but they care about their health because they've seen their parents and their grandparents be sick, obese, like dying, disease. And because they grew up in a time where they have access to unlimited information and their parents didn't, their parents don't understand why they're in the position they're in. They don't fully understand why they're sick or why their diabetes is getting so bad or why this and that and the other. And the Gen Zers are looking at them like, how do you not know? How do you not look at what's on your dinner plate and think, why am I sick? And I do think that that is a really, and I hope it doesn't stay a trend. I hope it's something that continues to kind of manifest itself of like this almost enlightenment to what health is. And again, there's going to be bad that comes from that. There's going to be people that take advantage of that and start to make these flashy trends from it. Just like, oh, weight rooms are big. Let's make some shake belts to get women in here, right? And shout out to Madonna for making a fit kind of muscular frame something big for women, because without her, those shake belts probably would still be around and still doing their thing. But there are going to be people who take advantage of that and try and use your emotional state to make a sale. But again, if the conversation is like, we know that what we've done up to this point has not been good because we can see it in our parents and our grandparents, we need to do something different. And so I do think that that is a positive trend that I hope becomes a foundation. And guard yourself against the negative trends that will come from it. All right. Well, short, sweet, to the point. Thank you all so much for joining. Staying tuned. If you like what we're talking about, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Share this around if you want. And if you're local to the Kansas City Lee Summit area, come in and train with us. We do unlimited personal training, nutrition coaching, hormone optimization, and really we just want to make you live healthier, happier, and longer. So come check us out, Lee Summit, Missouri, and we'll see you next time.